And now, Roland Martin, where are you this morning, Roland?
I am in Memphis, Memphis, Tennessee.
You sound confused. You don't know where you are.
No, it's been absolutely crazy, but yeah, in Memphis, headed back. Of course, we nor'easter hit the East Coast. Yes, shutting things down. In fact, my photographer who was with me when we flew back from San Francisco, he was grounded in Charlotte. He had to drive to D.C. because everything was canceled. So things are getting back to normal in Washington, D.C. I'll be headed back later this morning. But I was here. I'm here in Memphis. Yesterday I was at the National Civil Rights Museum doing some work, and of course they are getting ready in less than a month. They're expecting upwards of 50,000 people to be in Memphis for the 50th anniversary of commemorating the assassination of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And joining us right now is Wendi Thomas. She is, of course, she's a journalist, also a publisher of a website called MOK50. And Wendi, just so many things are happening. And again, the folks, all kind of programs and initiatives and symposiums are planned for those several days leading up to, and of course, the day of April 4th.
Yeah, it's going to be a big time in Memphis. I think as we try to show the world how far we've come since King was killed 68 years ago, or 50 years ago, sorry. He came here to support underpaid Black sanitation workers. And so there's a lot of introspection going on how are we paying workers today? What's poverty looking like today in Memphis? The news isn't all good. It's not all good.
And one of the things that we've already seen in terms of various reports that have been released, of course, last week was the 50th anniversary. The Kerner Commission, that report was released as well. But an examination of even the city of Memphis and African Americans has told a very telling story.
Yeah, absolutely. The report was released last week. A poverty report from Memphis specifically was released last week at the National Civil Rights Museum. And that's where we found out some good news. The short good news is that in education, high school graduation rates, college graduation rates, Black people have made amazing strides since the 60s. But that hasn't translated into any more money in our pockets, right? So the median household income for Black people is still half of what it is for white people in the Memphis area, and that's remained the same since King was killed. So no growth in that area.
And when people hear that, some will say, yeah, but the reality is things have changed. But again, when you look at the wealth gap between whites and African Americans, average white family in America, $110,000, average Black family, $5,000. When you look at our Black institutions, how they are facing difficulties, whether you're talking about HBCUs, that's education, whether you're talking about Black banks, that's economics, whether you're talking about even Black-owned media, which King said in his book, Where Do We Go From Here, Chaos or Community, is critically important in terms of maintaining their militancy. When you start thinking that way, people have to understand these are institutions that uphold a community.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And, the story for Black businesses here has not been very hopeful at all. The last federal data I saw showed that Black businesses in Memphis made less than 1% of business receipts citywide. And so if we're trying to think, would King be proud of what we've done with his sacrifice? I'm not sure. I think he might be disappointed.
Are you at all concerned in terms of April 4th, where people will focus on, looking back, sharing their concerns, as opposed to dealing with why Martin Luther King was in Memphis, dealing with those very difficult issues that have been hard to turn around, if you will?
Oh, definitely. The city of Memphis in particular has been engaged in this really aggressive branding campaign to try to present to the world, Memphis has moved beyond that. But those of us who are on the ground, particularly grassroots activists, know that that's not the story, and know that Memphis is still, very, very poor. 52% of Black children in Memphis live below the poverty line. And so we're hoping that this moment gives us an opportunity to draw attention to that, and then ask the question posed by King's last book. Where do we go from here? Clearly, what we've done heretofore has gotten us where we are, and we're not close enough to freedom. And so my reporting team with MLK50.com and some others are really trying to force that public discussion, to be honest about where we are, to not be ashamed necessarily of where we are, but to use this moment to power forward and think about how we can change systems, institutions, policies to make it a fair place for people of color, particularly Black people.
All of the living presidents, including the occupant of the White House, they have been invited. Not sure who will be here. Remember, Tom, President Barack Obama, I was here for the 40th. That was during the campaign. He did not come for the 40th. I was not sure if he's even going to be here next month for the 50th. And still no word also if Donald Trump will also show up. So we shall see what happens there. Wendi Thomas, again, the website is MLK50.com. We appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, wait a minute, Super Dave. Hold up. Walgreens has your trusted favorites in cosmetics, skincare, and hair care, plus new premium and exclusive beauty products. Stop by and find what makes you feel beautiful. Walgreens. All right, now hit it. Got that money.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Coming up this morning, Michael Eric Dyson rolling.
Uh-oh.
Got a new TV show.